Today is what is known as Yom HaZikaron, Day of Remembrance in Israel, and it's a day to remember all of Israel's fallen soldiers, not just for now, but for the entire history of Israel, all the wars that when you think about it, there has hardly ever been a time when Israel had true peace. And this is followed immediately by Yom Haatzmaut, Remembrance Day, Israel Independence Day. It's an interesting combination. Israel Independence Day is a happy time. It's a celebration of the fact that the Jews restored political independence in their own land, something which they had lost for over 2,000 years. That's an amazing miracle in its own right. And there's been a lot of controversy about whether it should be celebrated this year, because this year is an exceedingly sad time for Israel. They're in the midst of a war, the longest Israel has fought. It's already 7 months, and soldiers are still dying. And the worst part of it is the fact that you have the captives. And that's a terribly, terrible, despairing type of thing, that these family members, who knows what's happening to them? What kind of a torture it is to live like that for 7 months under the control, domination of a group that insanely hates Jews. And there's been allegations of sexual abuse and so on and so forth. So that's an ongoing torture for the Jewish people. So how can we celebrate at a time like this? It's an interesting question. And I think there has to be some type of a resolution. I'm just going to offer my own opinion. Of course, we are celebrating Yom HaZikaron, Remembrance Day. And all of the TV stations are showing ceremonies that are being held. Very, very sad. Survivors of soldiers who've died and so forth, giving their stories, their testimonies. Also for those who were killed by terrorists. And you really can't get regular TV on this day. Everything has been put on hold until after Yom HaZikaron. So of course this has to be observed. I don't want to use the word celebrated. Observed, commemorated. I don't think we should cancel Yom Haatzmaut. It's a different kind of Yom Haatzmaut. Sometimes you're celebrating it after a great victory and there's great joy in the land. And we celebrate the fact that the Jewish people are able to have their own country and live the kind of life they want to live. However, at a time of sadness and defeat, the fact that we were taken by surprise, you got to think about that. This entire catastrophe is one of our own making. We made a huge, huge mistake and let our guard down, allowing the enemy, hostile enemy, to invade and commit the worst tortures and atrocities. Who could have imagined such a thing? There should have been some type of a plan to defend the communities that are alongside the border. And it's similar to the overestimation of the capability of the IDF. It's the underestimation of the enemy. And the same thing took place in the days leading up to the Yom Kippur War, where Israel was willing to let them get in the first blow. So confident were they that they'd be able to throw them back so easily. So also on the day of Yom HaZikaron, I think it's a time for some type of a tshuva as well, introspection, to revisit not just the fact that we don't keep all of our religious obligations properly, but also the attitudes we have, which are faulty and which lead to such suffering. We've got to revise those attitudes. However comes Yom Haatzmaut, Israel independence, I don't think we should cancel it. We don't want to give out the message that we only celebrate independence when it's connected with good things. But when we have problems and setbacks, we sort of run from it. Setbacks are the factors which define the character of a person. A person's character is not defined by the victories. Every nation suffers setbacks. The United States of America was taken completely by surprise, suffered a terrible, terrible attack at Pearl Harbor. But that did not end. That was not the end of the story. The country rebounded. They were not prepared for war, and they found themselves at war with Japan, and Germany declared war on them as well. So they had to turn over the entire industry, had to be dedicated towards producing war machines. And they had the attitude, the confidence, the dedication to work it through, to win the war and to emerge as the world superpower. So every individual has a setback. Every individual sins. There's no such thing as a person who never sins. The test is, how does a person act after he sinned? Does he just lose confidence? Does he give up? Does he quit? Or no? He musters the courage to face that sin and to do what is necessary and to dedicate himself and to work it through until he makes a comeback, until he overcomes the problem. And very often he goes on to greater heights. This is the hope for Israel. This is independence. Independence carries many things with it. Sometimes it leads to a flaw, to a mistake, but we have the confidence and the courage to face these mistakes, to engage in the battle, and to emerge even more confident, to emerge even more powerful and resolute and united than ever before.